Two-phase plan regarding the Turkey Without Terrorism law or two-phase approach has emerged in the legislative framework being developed as part of the Turkey Without Terrorism process. While a framework law containing provisions for organization members who have not committed crimes is scheduled to be submitted to Parliament in July, it is being considered to introduce sentencing provisions for those who have participated in armed actions at a later date as a separate law. Additionally, the first returns are expected to begin after the law enters into force. As work intensifies on the legislative framework planned for the Turkey Without Terrorism process, the idea of enacting the legislation in two phases rather than as a single law containing sentencing provisions has begun to gain traction. Accordingly, the framework law, which will establish the fundamental principles of how the process will proceed, will include provisions regarding organization members who have never committed a crime. As for sentencing provisions for those who have committed crimes, these may be introduced as a separate law. The framework law is expected to be brought before Parliament in July, under the draft law currently under consideration. The process of dismantling the armed terrorist organization in its entirety and its disarmament will be monitored in accordance with objective, measurable, and verifiable criteria. In order for organization members arriving in Turkey to benefit from supervised release, the surrender of all weapons and ammunition under the PKK's control will be recorded by intelligence and security units. In the initial phase, procedures will be carried out regarding organization members who have not been involved in criminal activities. If the severing of organizational ties is established with concrete evidence, a conditional release regime will be applied by court order. How many organization members are in Candle? Based on assessments by intelligence and security units, it is estimated that there are approximately 7,000 organization members in the Candle region, where the organization is heavily concentrated, and around 4,000 in other camps. The first group to come to Turkey will consist of those who joined the organization but have not been involved in any armed actions. It has also been noted that organization sympathizers who left Turkey years ago to go to Syria and Iraq and who, while not having joined the organization, have established lives in those regions are also awaiting their return to Turkey under this framework. It is indicated that this group may also be included among those arriving in the first phase. The first arrivals may occur after July. The draft law currently under consideration is expected to be brought before Parliament in July. It is stated that, following the passage of the law by Parliament, those subject to legal action in the first phase may be allowed to enter Turkey. The framework law will include a time limit on the entry of organization members into Turkey. It will specify that this period may be extended in 2-month increments. Those involved in armed actions in the second phase. Most challenging phase of the legal framework involves the legislation to be enacted regarding the group responsible for the organization's armed actions. Legal experts are focusing on the possibility of introducing a separate law regarding the sentencing of those in this group. Once members of the organization who have laid down their arms arrive in Turkey and the process is seen to be proceeding smoothly, the enforcement regulation regarding those involved in criminal activities may be brought before Parliament, who will come to Umrali. Different options are also being considered regarding where the organization's senior leaders will go. Previously, the focus was on sending approximately 200 individuals directly to Scandinavian countries like Sweden or African nations. But later it was proposed that some of them could come to Turkey to serve their sentences on Umrali. However, recent assessments indicate that both methods could be implemented. Some will serve their sentences on Umrali, though their number will be limited. It is expected that the names approved by Kekalan will be included on Umrali.